I am TJ, joined by Diana. This is the Congressional Times for Wednesday, June 10th, 2026.
Busy day, understatement of the year, but yes, busy day.
We are starting with the biggest story on the board. The U.S. military has conducted strikes against targets in southern Iran.
And this was not a drill, not a warning shot. This was a direct military response.
Right. Iranian forces downed an American helicopter. The U.S. military responded with strikes on southern Iran. The New York Times has this from U.S. military statements.
And we do not yet have full details on aircraft, munitions, or specific targets. That is still coming out.
Which is normal in the first hours of something like this. But here's what we do know. Iran has already retaliated with drone and missile strikes on U.S. bases in Bahrain and Jordan.
So this is active, back and forth in real time?
Active engagement with Iran, and Congress is already moving. The House voted to rein in Trump's military action. That passed yesterday.
Which tells you the political discomfort is bipartisan, at least in the House.
War powers is the central legal question here. Does the president have the authority to conduct these strikes without explicit congressional authorization?
The answer historically depends on who you ask and which party is in the White House. Funny how that works.
Every single time. But the framework here matters. There is no formal declaration of war. The War Powers Resolution gives the president 60 days to act and then requires congressional approval.
And Congress is not sitting on its hands this time, which is notable. 3 separate pushback moves from Congress in recent weeks.
The durability of any ceasefire is also a real question. Iran retaliating against bases in Bahrain and Jordan. That is not a de-escalation posture.
No, that is a message, and the message is they are not backing down quietly.
We will keep tracking this as details come in. The war powers question alone could define the rest of this congressional session.
And frankly, the next several months geopolitically. This one has legs.
All right, next story. The DOJ's Anti-Weaponization Fund. $1.8 billion, 2 lawsuits, and the Justice Department says the program is, quote, not going forward.
Wait, so the government killed its own program and is still getting sued for it?
Correct. 2 separate federal court cases are proceeding even after DOJ publicly disavowed the fund.
That is actually a really important legal distinction. The executive branch saying we are not doing this does not automatically end judicial review.
Exactly. The courts are not bound by DOJ's press release. The legal question about whether the fund was lawfully authorized in the first place is still live.
So a judge could still rule on the underlying authority even if the money never moves.
Right. And that ruling matters for future programs. This sets precedent on executive spending authority regardless of which administration is in power next.
Which is why both sides should be paying attention. This is not just about Trump. It is about the executive branch's spending flexibility going forward.
The fund was framed as compensation for people allegedly targeted by politically motivated federal prosecutions. That was the stated purpose.
$1.8 billion is a lot of stated purpose.
And the authorization itself is what is being challenged. 2 different courts, 2 different angles of attack. ABC News has the reporting on this today.
So the DOJ walks away from the program, and the lawsuits keep running, Washington being Washington.
Perfectly normal. Nothing to see here. Just 2 active federal cases against a program that no longer exists.
The legal system surprisingly hard to quit.
Quick break. If you or someone you love is navigating life insurance or annuities, Policy Prepper breaks it all down in plain English. No sales pitch, just real information. Check it out at policyprepper.com.
Policyprepper.com. Bookmark it. Now back to the stories.
Okay, Maine Senate race. This one is quietly becoming one of the most important races of the 2026 cycle.
Quietly is the right word. People are sleeping on Maine.
Graham Plattner won the Democratic primary. He is an insurgent progressive. The New York Times flagged this race as a potential deciding factor for Senate control.
Single seat could flip the chamber. That is the scenario on the table.
And Plattner comes in with what the Times calls political baggage. They do not specify what it is, which is frustrating, but it is noted as a liability.
Unspecified baggage in a swing state against an incumbent who has already survived tough races. That is not an ideal starting position.
The Republican incumbent has a track record in competitive elections. That is a real asset in a state like Maine, where voters do not just pull the lever for party.
Maine is genuinely independent-minded, ranked choice voting, split electoral votes. They do not behave like a normal state.
Which makes Plattner's progressive profile interesting. Does that play in Maine or does it play against him?
Maine has elected progressives, and it has elected Susan Collins multiple times. So the answer is, it depends entirely on how he runs.
This race is also a test of whether either party's coalition strategy is actually working in 2026. Are Democrats rallying behind a progressive in a purple state? Are Republicans holding the center?
And the national money is going to pour in here regardless. Once the Times labels it a deciding race, the PACs follow.
We will be tracking this one closely. If you want to see the money trails and lobbying filings in Maine, that is exactly the kind of thing Gabby is built for. More on that at the end.
That baggage detail is going to matter. Whatever it is, opposition research will make sure voters know.
Last story, and this one is interesting. The State Department just launched a pay-to-play visa interview program. $750 gets you an interview within 10 business days.
As opposed to waiting how long normally?
Up to 12 months at some consular posts. A full year to get a tourist or student visa interview.
Okay, so the wait times are genuinely broken. That part is real.
That part is very real. Some consulates are backed up over a year. The $750 fee is for non-immigrant visas, tourists, students, temporary workers.
So if you can afford $750, you are in within 2 weeks. If you cannot, you wait a year. That is the system now.
That is the equity question sitting right in the middle of this. And it is a legitimate one.
$750 is a meaningful amount of money in most of the countries that apply for U.S. visas.
India, Mexico, Brazil, those are the high-volume consular posts with the longest waits. And the median income in those countries is not $750 per problem territory.
So wealthy applicants move to the front. Everyone else waits. I understand the revenue logic, but the optics are rough.
The administration's argument would be that this generates revenue and reduces administrative burden. There is a real-world efficiency case to be made.
Sure. And a theme park charges more for the fast pass, too. Does not mean it is the right model for immigration policy.
That is going to be the central debate. Efficiency versus equity. And on immigration specifically, both sides of that debate have legitimate points.
What I want to know is where the $750 goes. Is that fee going back into consular staffing? Because that would actually address the root problem.
That is the right question. If the fee funds more consular officers, you shrink the backlog for everyone. If it just goes into general revenue, it is a tax on urgency.
And we do not know which one it is yet.
Not yet. The New York Times has the basic reporting, but program details on fee allocation are not fully public. Watch this space.
Also, a 12-month wait for a tourist visa is its own story. How did it get that bad, and why is nobody fixing the underlying capacity problem?
That is a question that predates this administration. The consular backlog has been building for years, accelerated by the pandemic, never fully recovered.
So the $750 program is a workaround for a problem that should have been solved. Got it?
That is a clean summary. Workaround for an unsolved structural problem. That covers a lot of government programs, honestly.
Wednesday in Washington.
That is the Congressional Times. Find us at thecongressionaltimes.com for deeper intelligence, money trails, lobbying filings, data nobody else is pulling. Visit Gabby at gab-e.com. And if you enjoy the show, please subscribe and leave us a review.
Thanks for spending part of your day with us. Stay sharp out there. We will see you tomorrow.